Uh, all right, sir, we are good to go. Shall I proceed?
Yes, Ken, no problem.
Yeah, okay. So I welcome you all in the research circle. Today we are having with us Dr. Kelai Selvan Armugam. Uh, let me give his a brief introduction. Uh, Dr. Kelai Selmugam is currently attached with the National Institute of Education, Management and Leadership in Malaysia. He obtained his doctorate from University Atara, Malaysia. His research areas are curriculum and instructions, educational assessments, instructional leadership, action research in education, and qualitative research methodology. He has won many Best Teaching Awards. He has published many research papers regarding all his research areas. Internationally, he has presented many research papers which obtained a new perspective in educational studies. He is an asset for National Institute of Educational Management and Leadership. So, with all the due respect, I welcome Dr. Kelais.
Okay, thank you to Research Cycle and the whole entire team for giving this wonderful opportunity for me to share some information regarding research and publication. Actually, as I said, I'm attached to National Institute of Educational Management and Leadership under Ministry of Education Malaysia. Okay, so for this webinar, what I'm going to cover is, okay, these are my planning. It is about planning research, how we can plan our research, the research question, why you need to publish, what editors want, how to write a paper, useful resources, publication ethics, how to please editor and peer reviewers. Okay, so we know that research and publication is very important, especially for the academic person, for those who are pursuing their studies in master's, PhD, and even academician also. They really need to understand. They must have a very deep understanding of research. Okay, because why? There are so many reasons why we are doing research. Okay, where I can share some of the information. Okay, the first thing is why conduct and publish research. Okay, say something important. Sometimes we have the idea of saying something, but we cannot, like come out with the idea. So, what we need to do is we have to conduct the research. So, from that research only, we can say and we can show what are the important things. Okay, because basically when you tell something to anyone also, they need a very concrete data to support for what you're saying, for the argument. So when you do the research, it shows that you have conducted a study and you are saying something based on the data. So that is the first thing. We must know why research is very important. And another aspect is we can say like share your work. Sometimes we have some new ideas. Okay, sometimes we have some new ideas we want to share with our colleagues, we want to share with world, in the world level academicians. So this is the way. Okay, normally when we conduct research and it will be followed by publication. So through the research and publication we can share our work. Generally we can share with anyone, especially academician, scholars, and also students. Okay, change practice. Okay, this comes under like a action research. Normally action research, it is more on the actions, what you are going to do with your daily practice. So when we have a research and we can prove with the data, so we can change some common practice what we are doing. Maybe sometimes we can say that it is like a, okay, it is like a very usual part, but what we can do is through research we can show them. Okay, we can show them how benefit is the new findings to the world. Okay, promote thought or debate. Okay, through research we can promote thought. Sometimes we have a good thought, so when we want to share the idea, when we want to throw the idea to someone else, okay, it can be only done by the research, because academicians, they are looking for the data and also proof. Okay, and educate. Okay, so sometimes we need to, okay, what we need to do is we must educate someone. Like for example, research methodology. During this COVID-19 pandemic, there are so many things, new findings, like how to collect data. So everything you have to express through research. Okay, we cannot simply say something. Okay, we must prove something through research and publication. And of course, number six is most of the academician, they want it. Okay, get into high impact journal. Okay, get into high impact journal, because when we are conducting a very good research that have a very good impact to the body of knowledge, so we can publish in the high impact journal. Okay, advance your career. Of course, all of the academicians, they want to get promotions, and then they want to get the associate professor, professor's titles. So what they need to do is they need to conduct research. Okay, keep your job. Okay, that means most of the academicians, what they are doing is they need to do research, so we have to continue to do the research and make money. Of course, some of them, they are making money from the research. Entertain, divert, and amuse. Okay, so we have to entertain the world through the academic, academic knowledge. So the academic knowledge will only come through research and publications. Okay, so steps in starting research. Okay, some of them, they have a very good knowledge in conducting research, and some of them, they are very new in this field. So however, my topics, actually today my topic is basically, it is more over to help everyone, whether you are expert, you are novice researcher. So we just take some of the important ideas from here, because this is more on sharing sessions. Okay, what are the steps that you can take when you want to conduct a research? Mean, turn your ideas into a research question. Okay, basically we have the idea on conducting research. This is how the PhD students, and then some of the scholars, even we are very good in research, but sometimes we can get stuck in while doing the research. Why? We are not following the right steps. Okay, the first is, when we have the idea, we know that what we are going to do. Of course, all of us are very expert in our own field. Okay, we are not going to try something that is unusual for us. Okay, like for example, I'm an educational background, so of course whatever I'm going to do is based on the educational background. So when I have the idea, mean, what I will do is I will turn into the research question. You try to draft the research question first. Okay, because from the idea, sometimes when you straight away do the research, mean, it cannot meet the questions and also objectives. So what we need to do is, first, when you have the idea, for the particular idea, what you need to do is draft your research question. Never mind, sometimes we can draft more than, sometimes 10 questions, 15 questions. You can choose which is the ideal one for your research. Okay, and then once you have the question, based on the question, what you need to do is you have to review the literature. We have to see whether is there any studies conducted in this area. Is there any past literature saying something about what we are going to do? So we have to review the literature, because from the literature only we know that whether the questions that we draft answered or not. If there is no answer for the questions, mean, it shows that this research is compulsory and there is a need for us to conduct this research. Okay, enlist co-authors, statisticians, supervisor. Okay, so when let's say we are an academician, so we do some try to find out some co-authors. Okay, because why? We cannot do alone some of the research. Okay, this is basically why we get stuck while doing research. Mean, our ideas sometimes are limited. Okay, we are maybe expert in one area but not in every aspect. So what we have to do is we have to find out the co-authors. Okay, we try to find out the colleague. Okay, like when, let's say we are in one university or one institution, what we can do is we find out the person that who can work together with us, because when you do the sharing in research, mean, it can give a very good impact. Okay, furthermore, when you share, mean, you can get a lot of ideas, and there will be a member check for us, someone who can check our work. Okay, statistics. Okay, let's say we are not expert in statistics, so we must have an expert in statistics to help us to to deal with the data. okay, supervisor. This is especially for the students, those who are planning to continue their PhD or masters. Mean you have to find out the correct supervisor, because why? As I said just now, not everyone is expert in every in every field. Okay, like in the finance, on the management side, okay, in business, okay, you have so many expert area. Okay, so you have to find out the correct supervisor, who is the real expert in your area. Like education, there are so many area in education, like instructional technology, curriculum, educational management. Okay, so teaching methodologies. So what you need to do is you have to find out who is the right person. Let's say you're going to do something regarding educational management, so you have to find out the person, the expert in that field. Then only we can work together. Agree who'll do what. This is very important in research also. Sometimes we have two or three co-authors, but everyone, they don't know what they are going to do. Okay, like for example, you divide. Okay, let's say in your research you engage with 3 person. So what you can do is, okay, one is expert for the methodology, one is for the data collection, one is for the data analysis. So you have to divide the work. Okay, normally what will happen is we didn't divide our work, and we end up with the frustrations, because why? Everyone, they don't know what to do. So when we divide the work in the early stage, it will be very helpful for the academician to run the research smoothly. Okay, design the study and develop your methods. Okay, as I said just now, when you have a research question based on your idea and you're already done with the literature review, then you can proceed with the designing your studies. Am I going to choose qualitative? Am I going to choose quantitative? Or am I going to use mixed method? Okay, it's everything depends on your idea, research question, and also research objective. You must look at that first. Okay, without looking at the research objective and research question, you cannot design your study, and you cannot choose your methods. Okay, so normally the PhD students and also sometimes the academicians, what are the mistakes they will do is they already have a thought. They already have a thought. Okay, I'm going to do quantitative, but when they are choosing the research questions, when they are revising the literature, it is more on qualitative. Okay, so when you have the flow, okay, from the literature, from the research question, what I'm going to investigate, what I'm going to search for, what are the answers that I'm looking for. So from that, you have to develop the methods. Think about the ethics of your study design. Sometimes you have to consider about the ethics. Okay, we have to look our participants. Okay, the background of the participants. Okay, are you going to tell in the research who are your participants, or are you going to give the nickname? Sometimes in qualitative research, okay, we must really follow the ethics, because why? uh, we cannot be biased in doing research. Okay, we must be very genuine in reporting our research. Write your research proposal. So after you find out the design, and then you proceed with the research proposal. Okay, some of them we didn't consider to write the research proposal, because why? We are thinking that we can run our research, we can conduct our research. Actually, what is supposed to do is, okay, once you have the research questions, once you have the literature review, once who you find out who you are going to work with, then you have to write the research proposal, even though for the academician. Very simple research proposal, maybe like a few pages, okay, 2 or 3 pages. Because why? When we are doing research, when we are conducting our research, so that we can look at our proposal. Okay, this is actually what I frame for. This is what I targeted for. So from that, you won't divert your research into any other aspects. Okay, so apply for funding and ethics approval. Okay, let's say you want to engage with some of the participants. So please get their consent first. Okay, please try to get their consent first. Okay, let's say they want to take part in your research, let they know what you are doing. Okay, sometimes the people also don't know what is the purpose of this research. We are giving the questionnaire, ask them to fill up, so they don't know. Actually, what you're supposed to do is you must explain to your participants. You must explain, okay, this is my research, this is my area, what I'm going to do is, okay, what is the purpose of my study. At least they know something before they answer your questionnaire or your interview questions. Okay, and apply for funding if possible, try to engage with some of the research organization. Okay, most of us we didn't do this one because they are like a million of fundings, okay, given for the research. Okay, you try to explore and see which organizations are looking for the research. You try to approach them first. Okay, I am an expert in this field. Okay, I'm going to do research, it will help your organization. Okay, so you try to apply for the fund. You can look at you can google and see there are so many funding for the research. So these are the steps, okay, when you want to start your research. So I think these are the guidance, these are the basic guidance for everyone. Okay, not only for the academician, not only for the scholars, not only for the PhD students, but for everyone. When we want to conduct the research, these are the steps that we must follow. Sometimes we are having the problem in the middle of doing the research because we didn't follow these research steps. Okay, so we look at the research question. Okay, as I said just now, when you have the idea, you try to draft your research question. So what is actually research question? The researcher asks a very specific question and tests a specific hypothesis. Broad questions are usually broken into smaller testable hypotheses or question. So as I said just now, when you have the idea, try to draft the research question. Maybe sometimes it can come out under 10 to 15 question. So from that, you have to break into the smaller. So when you have the big idea, from the big idea, you try to break into the smaller to dig what you are going to do. What are the research that you are going to do, and what are the answers that you are looking for? Okay, often call an objective or aim through calling it a question tends to help with focusing the hypothesis and thinking about how to find an answer. So here comes the methodology. You see how important is the research question. Okay, sometimes we are moving in a separate way. Okay, this is my research question, this is my methodology, okay, this is my research objective. No, you must align it together. So that's why, as I said in the previous slide, when you have the research question, so the research questions will guide you for every single aspect to find out the correct methodology, to find out the correct objective. Okay, so the research will be very smooth and you will get a very good finding to answer the questions you set in the earlier. Okay, so besides telling a good part of research question, I would like to share, okay, what makes a poor research questions? A question that matters nobody, even you. So meaning to say that we are not focusing to anyone. Okay, there is no matter. In the question, there is no matters to nobody. You are not going to help anyone. So you are not going to give a new, like a new input for the academic world. So it shows that it is a very poor question. Hoping one emerges from routine clinical data records, the records will be biased and confounded. Okay. Sometimes the research question itself can show that it is very biased. Okay. So try to find out, try to check with your faculty members whether this research question is entitled for that research or not. Is it suitable for that research or not? They lack information you need to answer your question reliability because they were collected for another reason. Okay, so sometimes the research question is not answering what you want actually. So it is collected for another reason. That's why I put the word collected for another reason. Collected for another reason means we are doing the research without a reason. So the questions were created without the reason, so that there's no point of doing this research because you are not going to contribute anything for the body of knowledge. Fishing, expedition, data dragging, gathering new data and hoping a question will emerge. Okay, so we cannot dragging the data, gathering new data, cannot. Okay, don't hope for the emergent during the research. Okay, so what you have to set your mind is your research questions will give the good finding and to solve the problem. Okay, so that's why when you look at the problem statement mean from the research question, is your research question can solve your problem? You must look at that first. Okay, how to focus your question? Okay, how we can develop a very good research questions? Okay, just now we look at the poor part of the questions. Okay, how we can develop a good research questions mean brief literature search for previous evidence. As I said just now, when we have the idea, when you have the research question, you must look at the literature. You must review all the literature. You must look at the answers from the literature, whether is there any answers, is there any answers for that particular questions. So you must look on that. Okay, so once you are very confident with your questions, once you feel that okay, there is no answer for this question, it shows that you need to conduct this research. It shows that there is a need for you to conduct this research. But before that, you can discuss with your colleagues. Okay, why I'm saying so? Because sometimes we are thinking that it is very important question. Sometimes we are thinking that this is very unique questions that can give a very good data or very good input for the academic work. But when we discuss with our colleague, when we discuss with our faculty members, maybe we can get some ideas from the questions that we develop. We can develop more, or we can narrow down the questions. You see the third number three, narrow down the questions, time, place, group. Sometimes your questions will be very broad question, so we cannot find out the answer in the short term of our research. Maybe we are conducting the research for 6 months or 10 months, we cannot find the answer. So when we discuss with our faculty members, so we can know the time frame. Actually, for these questions, you can collect your data in 3 months, okay, in 4 months. So you must have the discussions. That's why when you're doing research, try to find out your colleague. Try to find out a good faculty members who you can work together. Okay, what answer do you expect to find? You must have the idea. From this question, I'm going to find out this kind of answer. Okay, even though in qualitative it is not encourage us, you're not encouraged to do a prediction. Actually, in qualitative, please don't do any prediction. Let the question, let the data collection process to answer the question. But you must have some ideas. You must have some ideas. Okay, let's say I'm going to do something about educational leadership, about distributive leadership. So you must have the answer. Okay, let's say you want to look at the implementation process of distributive leadership. So what you can do is you can look at the question. Okay, you can look at the question. Is it the question is answer or not? Okay, is it the question is answer or not? So what you can do is you try to discuss with your colleague first. Okay, you try to discuss with your colleague. So what you can do is, okay, what you can do is uh, try to bring your idea among the faculty members, discuss together. You have structured a research question. After you structured the research question, you try to discuss again so that you know you will be on your track to conduct the research. So basically, what are the problems that you are facing when we are doing the research? After we collected the data didn't answer the questions. You see? So this is normally will happen. And when we send the paper to the reviewer or for the publication, this is the process they will look. First thing, they will look at your research question. Is it the finding is answering your research question? So once your finding is not answering the research question, then your paper will get rejected. Okay, so to avoid our paper to get rejected frequently, so when you want to plan your research mean, look at the research question. Look at the research question, look at the literature. Is there any literature already answered your research question? So please keep away the research question. You cannot use that research question anymore. Try to think something else. Okay, so this is a part that I'm explaining to you on how you can develop a research question, because you must understand research question and research objective will be the main part for the reviewer. The reviewer will look at into it. Then they will look at the methodology. Then they will look at the finding. So once the finding is not aligned with the research question and objective, definitely they will reject your paper. Okay, turning a research question into a proposal. So some of you maybe you might asking, okay, I'm an expert in this field, why I want to do a research proposal? Okay, research proposal is actually just as a guideline for you. Okay, so what are the things that you can wrap into your research proposal is, who am I collecting information from? So you have in the methodology part. So in the methodology part, you know, okay, these are my targeted group. From this part, I'm going to get this data. What kinds of information do I need? So from that, you are going to develop the instrument for your research. Even it is a qualitative, so you can develop the interview questions. Okay, for your interview questions, maybe a structured or semi-structured. So when you want to develop the interview question, also you need to look at your research question first. Remember, developing interview questions for your qualitative research also, you must look at your research questions. Okay, how much information will I need? So this research question will answer this one. Okay, how I will use the information, how I will minimize chance bias, confounding, okay, how I will collect the information ethically. Ethical issue is very important. If you're giving, like last time I did, I mean the webinar also, just for 1 hour, more than 1 hour, I did about the ethical issues in research. So maybe we can share later. But this one is more, I'm telling you the process, how you can do a research without like getting a trouble in the middle of doing the research. So whenever you want to do the research, please come out with your idea, then your research question first. Then for your research question, you try to turn into a proposal, because proposal will be the framework or the guideline for you to conduct the research. So how you want to develop a good proposal? Based on the research question also. Okay. So minimizing. Okay, minimizing bias and confounding. Okay, as I said, the first article in each research is you cannot be biased. Okay, you cannot be biased. As I said previously, you try to report what you got, what you found. You report. Generally, you report, so that from that findings, maybe some other new researchers will try to come out with some new ideas. So what you have to do is, don't be biased. Don't be too ambitious in doing research. You want to prove something that you have done a very good job for the world. No, because research is to show the current situation. Research is to prove what is happening at the current time being, at the time frame, so that from that data only, the future research have a good chance to improve on their area. Okay, so we look at the chance. Okay, measurements are nearly always subject to random variation. Okay, minimize error by ensuring adequate sample size and using statistical analysis of the pay of chance. So that's why we try to be random in collecting the participants. Okay, of course, some of the research we have the purposive sampling. In that particular aspects, you have to go for the purposive sampling. But when you have the chances to choose a random subject, try to go for a random subject. From that only, you know that, okay, how's their perceptions, okay, what they have the understanding about the issues that you're researching. Okay, bias caused by systematic variation, error in selecting patients, measuring outcome, analyzing data. Okay, take extra care. Okay, sometimes you are very concerned with the data. Okay, sometimes when you analyze the data, I mean, you're concerned, oh, this is not I'm looking for actually, so I have to change some part. No, that is wrong. Okay, that's why I say what you want to achieve is based on your research question. When you're able to structure the research question accurately, and the findings will be very good enough for you. So don't ever try to manipulate the data, because you already have the mindset in research. Okay, this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm going to prove for the academician or for the academic body. No, let's say you got something that unexpected, please report it, because from the unexpected data, okay, it can give more meaningful for your research. Okay, confounding factors that affect the interpretation of outcomes. Example, people who carry matches are more likely to develop lung cancer, but smoking is the co-founding factor. So measure likely co-founders too. Don't do some measurements in your research. Don't do some measurements in your research. Okay, so ethical issues. I want to explain about the ethical issues in conducting research. Okay, so what information will you give participants before seeking their consent? As I said just now, when you want to meet your participants, please explain to them. Please tell to them, give explanation what you are trying to do, what you want to do actually, okay? What you are expecting from them, okay? So how much will the study deviate from current normal expected local or clinical practice? This is more, sometimes I mix up like business, medicine, okay? Because I have a different audience. So I have to mix up everything, educational, business, and then medicine, medical line. So I have to synchronize for everyone. Okay, what full burden will be imposed on participants? Okay, sometimes when you're conducting qualitative research, we must be very careful when you're dealing with your participants, because we are going to interview them emotionally. Sometimes they can be affected, so we must take care on that also. Don't give too burden. Let's say they are willing to spend time with you for half an hour, so just let it. You come another time, go for another interview. Okay, you don't force them, no, I have to finish it, you must be with me. Okay, you must be with me to continue everything. No, don't put a burden on the participants. Okay, what risk will participants or others be exposed to? As I said just now, you cannot expose their names. Sometimes like when you're doing a structured interview or semi-structured interview, okay, you have to deal with the participants directly, especially for the qualitative or the mixed method. You want to cross check your data. So please make sure when they are in the risk position, okay, try to keep everything secret. Try to keep everything secret, especially like dealing with some of them, they are in the psychology field, so they have to meet some of the prisoners or the psychiatrists, and then they are giving some information. So you have to follow the ethical issues. Okay, what benefit might participant or others receive? Okay, make sure it is a win-win situation. When someone is helping you to give the data for your research, okay, they benefit it. Okay, they benefit it. You're going to give some benefit for them. How might society future patients benefit in time? This is on medical also. Might publication reveal patients identities? Okay, so uh, sometimes we must look at into it also, because we cannot expose their name. Okay, we cannot expose their name, especially in education field, psychology, medical. Make sure don't ever reveal their real name. Okay, so exactly what are you planning to do? Okay, I mean, I would like to use the PICO or PECO concept. Okay, PICO or PECO concept. Okay, who are the patients or what's the problem? Okay, what is your actual problem? When you want to do a research, mean what is the actual problem? Okay, like for example, as I gave just now, distributive leadership is not implemented in my organization. So that is your main idea. From that idea, from that problem, try to create research question. So P, okay, problem. Okay, what is the intervention or exposure? So when you have the problem, you must think on the intervention or exposure. Sometimes we have to do intervention, like action research mean we are focusing on intervention. Okay, let's say for the case studies mean exposure. So you must use the I or E in your situation. Okay, let's say you want to do intervention mean, so you use the concept of PICO. Okay, let's say you want to do the exposure mean PECO. Okay, C is a comparison group. Okay, comparison group. Let's say someone already done a research with this group of people, so you must think on it. Okay, whether you are going to same group, you are going to do the comparison, or you want to move to some other groups. Okay, and what is the outcome or endpoint? So you must have the outcome. You know the problem already, so you are going to solve the problem. You have the steps, you have the intervention, you have the methodology you're using to solve the problem. So what is the outcome? What is the end point of your research? So these are the planning. So I encourage most of the researchers to use this one, PICO or PECO. Okay, study designs. Okay, study designs mean these are like PI based on the PICO and PECO also. Like you have the survey, qualitative, experimental, observational, analytical. Okay, so experimental also you have the randomized parallel group, crossover. Okay, observational, analytical mean you have the cohort study, cross-sectional, analytical, case control study. So this is more on the methodology and choosing the right methodology. Choosing the right methodology. Okay, who will do what? As I said just now, when you are in a faculty and you are conducting a research for your faculty, make sure you distribute the task, because of course we are doing in a collaborative, we are going to work together, but every researcher must have their own task. Okay, every researcher must have their own task. Okay, agree authorship before starting the study. This is like what I'm saying is a compulsory things. Okay, compulsory things in academic world, because we must agree the authorships before we starting our study. Otherwise, some of them they like to quit from the studies, and then it will make the problem to the studies where we don't have to continue. Okay, we cannot continue collecting the data because data collection is some others one. So agree the authorships. Okay, authorship and contribution. Okay, we look at the authorship and contribution. Okay, these denote credit and accountability. So once you are engaged with the research, okay, you have your own authorship. Okay, you have your own authorship, so that you have your own accountability. So you have the own responsibility in your research. So you have to consider on that. But many authors on papers have done little. Okay, many authors, when you see sometimes there are 5 6 authors in a paper but have done little. Okay, they are not engaging, or they are not giving their full commitment for the research. So what will happen is it will make the research like a dilution of information, because the person who's supposed to collect data, or the person who's supposed to analyze the data, didn't give a full commitment for the research. So there might be a dilution of information in our paper. So when we send in that way, mean what will happen? The paper got rejected. This is how the papers are normally rejected. When the reviewer look at the paper, the synchronization between the problem statement, between the research question, research objective, and the findings is not aligned together. Okay, people names are left of papers. This one sometimes happen also. So we must make sure you have the authorship and contributions. Authors do not know the authorship criteria. Okay, so some of the authors they don't know. So as a research leader, and please, before I forget me, I want to explain that in doing a research there must be a one person who are leading the research. Then only you can synchronize the work properly. Okay, contributorship statement more inclusive. Okay, so you must give a contributorship statement. Okay, so authorship, you can see here, authorship credit should be based on a substantial contribution to conception and design or data analysis and interpretation, drafting the article or revising it critically for important intellectual content, and final approval of the version to be published. So authorship means sometimes they are only going to look at the end of the paper. Let's say they are going to revise your paper before get published, so you can give the authorship for them also. Okay, all these conditions must be met. Participants solely in the acquisitions for funding or the collection of data does not just justify authorship. Okay, all authors included on a paper must fulfill the criteria. No one who fulfills the criteria should be excluded. Okay, you just tell them directly, okay, you didn't do the task, you didn't do this work properly, So don't put their name. Don't put their name. Okay, so this is more on contributionship. Okay, contribution, sometimes not all necessarily authors, sometimes they are not authors, but they can be a contributor for your research who took part in planning, conducting, and reporting the work. For example, maybe your head of department, he or she is the person who do all the planning for you all. So he or she will be the contributor for your research. Okay, guarantors, one or more, who accept full responsibility for the work and or the conduct of the study, had access to the data and control the decision to publish. Okay, guarantors, you must have a guarantor also. Okay, researchers must decide among themselves the precise nature of each contribution. So here sometimes comes the argument, why my name is the first name, why your name should be the first name. So when we delegate our work, when we distribute our work, mean the leader can delegate the work or the task during the research, mean then we don't have a problem. So normally sometimes I know that most of the faculty members, they have the argument, I've done more work, so why my name is a co-authors and why I'm not the main author. So when the early stage of the research, when you are doing the research, when you're starting the research, you must have a proper planning for it. So once you have a proper planning, then this will be not a problem or the issue in the later part. Okay, writing a research paper. Okay, we look at the writing a research paper. Okay, general guidance on writing research paper. So what I will advise is, okay, you try to conduct the research first. You try to conduct the research, you try to choose the right methodology, you try to collect the data properly. So once you have the proper data, try to write up first. Try to draft and try to write up first. Then only you choose, okay, which journal will be suitable for your publication, which journal will allow you to publish. Then only you try to edit the manuscripts. Okay, then only you try to edit the manuscripts according to the format given. Okay, sometimes what we will do is we will search the journal, we will look for the format, because we have the very specific scope that we are going to publish in this particular journal. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. What you have to do is, of course, research will come to publication. And of course, we try to publish in the high impact journal. So don't ever choose the journal first. You try to conduct the research, you try to write the paper according to your own format, because basically we know that every research paper, there will be introduction, there will be literature, methodology, findings, and discussion. These are the 5 main aspects in every research paper. So you try to draft, you try to write out everything, then only you try to choose the right journal, then you format it according to the journal requirement. Okay, so writing the paper, these are the process. Okay, just now I explained in the first part, I explained to you what are the stages in doing research, what are the ethics in conducting research, and now we are moving into writing a paper. Okay, so the message, what is the research question? Okay, what is the right article format for your study? What does the audience need to know? Try to raise this question. Okay, so you try to find out by yourself, what is the research question? What is the right article format for your study? Okay, because why? Once you already have the data, once you already have the draft of your writing, then you have the right journal, then only you look at the format. Okay, what does the audience need to know? Okay, because our main aim conducting research is to deliver the knowledge to the world, for the body of knowledge. So we must know our audience. Let's say our audience are the medical students. So your focus must be on medical students. And the terms that you're using also must be focusing on the medical students. Let's say you're focused on business studies. So your terms, your audience, the way you are presenting is based on the business field person. Let's say it is a social science, psychology, educations. Okay, so your way of writing, okay, the way of your presenting your audience, you must look at them first. Okay, so the next one is IMRAD. Okay, writing a paper also. So this is the part I said. Normally, you don't have to think very deep about the format, because every journal, they are looking for these 4 aspects only. Okay, sometimes they will think, oh, if I write a paper mean without a correct format, then it will be trouble for me as I have to do the work twice. No, actually, all the journals, they are only asking for introduction, methods. So in the introduction part, you can add some literature. Some of the journals, they are asking for the literature. Methods, this is a very important introduction. Introduction is the first impression for the reviewer. Once your introduction can give a very brief input about what you are going to do is, then it will be fine. Then only they will move for the methods part. Once your introduction is like in a very poor level, of course they are not going to look at your methods. So for the first stage, it will be the major rejection. So your paper will get rejected. Okay, so once you have a very good introduction, you must have look at the methods. Okay, so for the introduction, you can ask, why ask this research question? So this is the keyword for your introduction. Why ask this research question? Methods, what did I do? So you must explain the process. In order to answer your question, in order to collecting the data, what did I do? The method, you explain. Okay, sometimes some of them, they like to use manual analysis, especially in qualitative data. They are not into the software, they are not into the, I mean, like NVivo, Atlas TR. So they want to do a manual analysis. So please say, okay, I analyze the data manually. So tell them the process, because the reader, okay, they want to know, to answer this question, what you did. That is the methods part. And methods must be genuinely from you, because it is not telling about some others. It is telling about your process. Okay, results, what did I find? So you explain what you found in the results. Okay, that's why I say you don't have to manipulate any data. Please follow the ethics of doing research. Because why? The genuine, when you report the data genuinely, it will contribute a good knowledge for the academic world. Discussion, what might it mean? So discussion part must be very critically you discuss. Okay, not to repeat. Some of the papers got rejected because when you look at the result and discussion, they are writing the same things. Actually, result is more on you are reporting the data. Discussion is you're critically arguing, you're critically telling to someone what you have find, okay, what is the useful for the body of knowledge, and how it can be improvement for the field that you have conducted. Okay, so papers also can get rejected because results and discussions are in a same way. Writing results is more on reporting. Remember, result is reporting. Discussion is you're critically discussing what you have done, what you have found, and what is the benefit for your research. Okay, and then the introduction. Okay, this will be the introduction. What are the contents? Normally the reviewer or the any publications, what they will look is brief background for this audience. Okay, so as I said just now, you already choose the audience, and then 3 to 4 paragraph only. Don't write down until 3 to 4 pages. Okay, as I said, very brief background of your study. What's known, what's not about your research question. Don't bore readers, editors, reviewers. Don't boost about how much you have read. Okay, you don't have to boost yourself. Sometimes the reviewer, okay, I also sometimes I will reject the paper. Some of the publications, they will appoint me as the reviewer. So what I will do is I will look at the introduction. From the introduction itself, I know that this is a genuine work. This is I mean like a not useful work. This is not going to benefit the academic world. So from the introduction itself, so as I said, these are the keywords. What's known, what's you know about this research, what's not, what you are going to find out, that is your problem. Okay, about your research. Don't bore readers. Okay, don't make them bored. Oh, this is something that had been researched few years back, so what for I have to read this one? This will be not useful. Okay, and research questions stated clearly in the last paragraph of the introduction say why it matters. Sometimes, okay, we couldn't find the research question when we are reviewing the papers. And why your papers got rejected? Because in the introduction we cannot find out the research question. So when you start your introduction, you tell about what is about your idea, okay, what is the lack thing about your idea, okay, then at the end you throw the question. Okay, this is the research question, so that the readers or the reviewers know, oh, this is particularly what they are going to research on. Okay, and another aspects, okay, another aspect, the fourth aspects that the reviewer will look into is the methods. Okay, they will look into the methods. Methodology is very important. Okay, methodology is very important because it shows, okay, how deep you are conducting your research. Okay, how deep you are conducting your research. Like a recipe. Okay, I will always say to my students or anyone who come for the consultation for the research also, I'll say it is a recipe for you. Okay, when you have a proper recipe, you know what you want to cook. It is like a methodology. When you know the methodology, okay, you know what you are going to find out. So most important section for informed readers, describe. Okay, what are the things that you can find out here? Inclusion and exclusion criteria, outcome measures, intervention or exposure, give references for standards method, okay, follow reporting guidelines. Okay, you have to follow the reporting guidelines. Okay, why I choose quantitative, why I choose qualitative. Okay, is the quantitative method is suitable for your research question, is the qualitative method is suitable for your research question. Sometimes I can say like how the papers got rejected. In the method, in the introduction part, they say that I want to understand deeply about this current situation. So you know the word understand. Can we understand something in a quantitative? So of course not. So sometimes we can see the introduction, they say to understand. When you look at the methodology, it is a quantitative method. It is wrong. It is not aligned. So we must look at the research questions, problem statements. So is the research question, okay, suitable for the methodology? Okay. So there are so many books I can suggest. So many books like a Creswell, okay, Brown and Clark, Patton. Okay, you can refer deeply about the research methodology. So based on your, I mean like based on what you want to do, if you want to choose quantitative, so please try to read some of the quantitative research methodology books, because it will give a very clear explanation. For this methodology, you can find this one. We have the specific things which clearly researched already. So please look at the research methodologies. Okay. So results, what is result actually? Include basic descriptive data. So once you have done your research, mean you have the data. So is the data, you are going to tell about the data, text for story, tables for evidence, figures for highlights. Okay. So text, when you're dealing with the interview, qualitative text. When quantitative mean you must have a numbers with evidence or figures for highlights. Okay, you must have the figures.
confidence intervals, okay, essential summary statistics. You must prove the data. You must show the summary and the statistics data. Leave out non-essential tables and figures, okay. So if you feel that it is not answering your research question, you don't have to include in your paper. Okay, what is our problem is, once you got the data, means sometimes we try to report whatever we got. Whatever the data we got, we try to report, we try to turn into the diagram, and then we put inside, we include in our paper. So the reviewer will see, oh, this is not suitable for the research. This is not suitable for answering the research question. Okay, so what you have to do is, when you feel that it is not essential, it is not necessary, just leave out. Don't report in your data. Don't start discussion here. Most of the papers, okay, will get rejected because during they are reporting the results, okay, they try to start to discuss. Discussion is another part. Results is reporting the data. Remember, I would like to use the keyword results is more on reporting the data. So when you state the title is results and findings, so make sure it is only data. Okay, it is only data and no discussion. Strictly, I will say I won't accept anyone combining results and discussion. Okay, because results is you are telling what you found in your research from the data, but discussion you have a critical part. Okay, now we see, look at the structured discussion. Okay, structured discussion. Don't simply repeat the introduction. Sometimes what will happen is, the authors, they try to bring up the introduction in the discussion part. Yes, of course, we have to tell in 1 or 2 words to highlight, okay, what we are doing, what is our initial idea actually. But don't write again all the introduction part. Okay, sometimes they like to write again. Okay, this is the problem. So for this problem, we try to find out. No need. You already explained in the introduction. For the discussion part, you try to bring back the idea in one simple sentence, and then you try to discuss based on your finding. So what you have to include in your discussion? Statement of principal findings, not every single findings, principal findings. Strength and weaknesses of the study. Okay, so based on the previous literature, what they highlighted, and based on your study, what you highlighted, is there any similarity? Is there any contradict things? This is what we call as a discussion. Okay, strength and weaknesses in relation to other studies, especially systematic reviews. So this is more on what I can say, you are reviewing back your data, literature, okay, and you try to give some critical input for the readers. And key differences meaning of the study, okay, possible mechanism and implication for clinicians or the policymakers. Okay, so sometimes the policymaker, you have to argue the current situation. You have to argue in a proper way that you are trying to prove something from your data. If you feel that the previous research is not supporting, okay, the data from your research is not aligned together with previous research, so you just tell, okay, based on my finding, okay, the result is very contradict compared to the previous research. Then you give the justification. Why? There must be some justification. Then only the reviewers or the readers will see, oh, this is the benefits that I gain by reading this research. Or the reviewers will see, oh, this is something very useful, very like it is very new findings for the body of the academic. So body of the knowledge, this is something very new input. Then only they try to publish the paper. Unanswerable questions and future research. Okay, let's say there are some unanswerable questions. You give the suggestion for the future research. Okay, so that the future researcher will try to get some new information. Okay, will try to get information and they have the new idea for their future research. Okay, go easy on the last two. Okay, this is what my advice. Go easy on the last two mean. So you try to go easy because this is your part. Data is something very concrete that you find it through your methodology, but discussion is your own justification, based on your research question, research objective, and also the previous literature. Okay, so abstract. Okay, some of the papers also they rejected because of the abstract. Okay, when they read the abstract mean they know, okay, this research is not going to contribute anything. Okay, from the abstract itself we know already that this research is like what we can say, not really important. Okay, not going to contribute for the any knowledge. So in that case mean you have to look at the abstract also, because the first things the reviewers or the readers will read is your abstract. So what are the things that you must include in your abstract is, as I said, it is very important because it's going to give your first impression for your paper. It is a first impression of your paper. Okay, all authors must approve it. Okay, so what you need to do is, once you have completed your writing, you have a decision to publish your paper. Okay, you have a draft of your abstract, try to share with your authors. Okay, let everyone to come out with the idea. So what they can see, maybe this is the lacking information. Okay, the sentence structure. Some of them they say that abstract is very simple because you are going to give one introduction, methodology, finding, discussion. But actually, some of the papers, the content wise is very good. Okay, the reviewer comments is only for the abstract, because the abstract must give a very brief idea. Once you read the abstract, you can get the whole idea of your work. Okay, editors may screen by abstract. You see, editors may screen by the abstract. So the reviewers, they will look at the abstract and they know that, oh, this abstract is very good. This abstract is like the language is not accurate. Okay, it is not, I mean, like give a good impression. Okay, structure of abstract. So what you must have in abstract actually, objective. Okay, objective, research questions. So you must tell the audience what you are going to research and why you want to research on it. Okay, design, that means prospective, randomized, okay, placeable, control, case control, and etc. So design, you must explain also. Setting, primary or secondary care, number of centers, country. Okay, you must tell in which country you did this research, in which area. Participants, you must tell the numbers of participants. Okay, entry and exclusion criteria, numbers entering and completing the study, sex, ethnic group as appropriate. Okay, if there is a need, you must tell. If there is no need, you don't have to explain, but you must tell who are your participants. Okay, intervention, let's say you are doing intervention or any program for the purpose of improvement mean, so you must tell what, how, when, and how, for how long. Okay, maybe 6 months, it is a 2-year studies, you just tell. Main outcome measures, okay, those planned, those finally measured. Okay, and then results. Okay, you must tell the result, main result, 95% confident intervals, statistical significance, number need to treat or harm. So you must tell the numbers actually. Or when it is a qualitative mean, you must tell the words to express the result. Okay, conclusion, you must have the conclusion, primary conclusion, implication. Don't go beyond data. Okay, let's say there is not mentioned in the data, in the result, please don't mention here. Okay, please don't mention here, because the reviewers, what they will look at, your result and the sentence in the abstract. So let's say the data and the sentence, because you're going to write just one sentence or two sentences to explain about the conclusions. But let's say your discussion, your result does not meet with the conclusion in the abstract, the paper will get rejected. They will reject your paper. Okay. Trial registrations, registry and number. Okay, this is for clinical trials only. Okay, so next part is how to please editors and reviewers, which actually I explained to you already just now a little bit. Okay, how we can, give a good impression for the editors or reviewers. Okay, how to please editors and peer reviewers. Okay, make sure the message is clear in the paper and abstract, not just in the cover letter. Sometimes our cover letter is very good enough. We are telling that I have done this research. Okay, these are my findings. Okay, so when they read the cover letter also, they don't have the impression. The first impression must come from the abstract. Okay, and after they read the abstract, don't think that they will only focusing on your abstract. What normally as a reviewer, what we all will do is we will look at the content. The content, is the content meet the abstract? Okay, if the content doesn't meet the abstract and there is no synchronizations from the introductions, methodology, result, discussion, the paper will get, they will reject the paper. They will reject the paper. They'll put in the minor, or they fully reject the paper. Okay, include extras, examples, stop, checklists. Okay, cite and send any closure related papers. Okay, send previous peer review reports. Okay, so when you already done with the review stage, so let's say the reviewer gives some comments, please do the correction according to the review report. Because why? The second reviewer, what they will do is they will look at the first reviewer report. Have you corrected? Okay, have you corrected whatever mentioned in the review reports? If you didn't correct whatever the things in the report mean, so what you have to do is they will reject the paper. So please follow whatever based on the review reports. Communicate clearly and promptly. So normally what I will suggest is, of course, we cannot meet the reviewer each other. So what we can do is, let's say that some of the parts, let's say the reviewer give some reports you cannot understand, try to email them, try to contact with them. Okay, so you say that this part is not very clear, what I supposed to add, what I supposed to do. Okay, is there anything lacking? You can ask them also. Okay, so please make sure the reviewers are happy with your work. And when you're doing correction, you are doing correction based on the suggestions or the reports given to you. Okay, so another part that I would like to share with you, when your paper get rejected, okay, maybe sometimes your paper is very good enough. What will happen is the paper does not meet the journal requirement. Maybe the journal targeted for the different audience and your participants in your study is different. So what you have to do is you must have a few choices of the journal. Let's say this journal reject your paper. Look at the comment. Okay, look at the comment. Is the comment is regarding the format? Okay, or it is not suitable for the right audience. So you try to search for another journal, okay, which can accommodate for the right audience. Sometimes you have a very solid data, very good, like a very good findings, but it can be rejected just because of the format, or it is not suitable for the audience. You have to check that one first. Okay, you have to check deeply on that particular part. Okay, and I would like to advise that when your paper got rejected, don't be like because I myself also in the first stage of I'm doing research, there are many rejections of my paper. Okay, but slowly I learn from the reports, reviewer reports, suggestions, so you can learn one by one. Okay, try to improve. That's why when you want to do a research at the early stage, Maybe you have a PhD, but PhD is something different compared to writing a paper. Some of them they can do a PhD, but writing paper, okay, we can get stuck. Because why? When we are doing PhD, mean we have our supervisor to guide, but when you're writing paper, there is no guidance, proper guidance for us. So that's why I say, when you're in the early stage of doing research, early stage of writing, I mean like article or paper, research paper, try to do it together with your colleagues, so that you can get view from them, you can get some ideas from them. Okay, so once your paper got rejected, mean please try to improve the paper, and please try to submit for another journal as soon as possible. Or let's say your paper got rejected from that particular journal and you still have the intention to publish in that particular journal, you may email to them, ask them in a good manner, okay, what are the shortage, what are the other things lacking, how I can improve. Okay, then after a few months, you try to restructure your research paper, you try to restructure, reorganize your paper, and you try to submit again. Okay, so that is how we can get into publication, until we can get until high impact publication. Okay, like I won't say that it is easy to get published, but it is not hard also. It is actually based on our intention. Okay, so once we have a good colleague, what we have a good team to do research, so from that we can do improvement, which will help us to get published in the high impact journal. Okay, you can check in the website. There are many choices of high impact journals. You can choose a Q4. Maybe when you are early stage, mean you can start with Q4, then you move to Q3, Q2, Q1. Okay, when you're doing in Q1, mean, so it shows that you are like a very genuine in doing your work, and you have a very deep knowledge in conducting research. Research is an improvement purpose only. So not to say that we are writing a paper and then we are going to publish in the high impact journal. No. When you have a lot of papers, try to go for the reference journal at the early stage. Slowly, you try to bring up yourself slowly. Let people to recognize your work. Okay, because we are giving this paper for the body of knowledge. We are going to contribute for the body of knowledge. Okay, and of course, it is for our own satisfaction and our own career. But we must remember that whatever we are doing, the research that we are doing is going to contribute for the future research. Okay, so we must have a good data, the writing way, and please always check your language. Okay, we know that we have to write in English, and if your country is not, they are using English as a second language, so of course you must have the language editor. Please find out a language editor. So as I said just now, in research we have the authorship and contributionship. So the language editor can contribute to check your language. Okay, not necessary you have to write down your name also. Okay, so almost I have covered everything, the secret behind research and publication. Okay, so for the 1 hour 15 minutes talk, so I think most of the important things I've shared with you all. So I hope that you all benefit, and I hope that don't give up in publishing paper. Keep on trying, keep on improving. And once again, I would like to thanks for Research Cycle for giving this good opportunity for having a good sharing session with you all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, with your due respect, permission, I would like to ask one question, which was asked on the YouTube live.
Okay, sure.
Shall I?
Yeah, sure.
There's a question from Jasna Bahera. She's asking, if researcher is not from institutions, then from who or where can get the ethical permission for the new study?
Okay, ethical permissions is like when you're doing a research, so you can get the ethical permission from the participant itself, because you are going to interact with the participants. So you try to explain to the participant what you are going to do, and you try to get their consent form. Okay, once they already agreed, and you didn't I mean like, or you didn't go beyond the ethics. The normal ethics mean, so it should be fine. There is no institution or a body to approve or to check your ethics. Actually, ethics is come from ourselves. We as a researcher, we have the ethics. Okay, we are not like, it is not like a law of institution or anything. It is basically on ourselves. Okay, we as a researcher, we know we cannot manipulate the data. Okay, we cannot give the real name of the participants. Okay, we cannot tell anything bad or anything that will give a bad impression about the participants. So that is actually ethics. Okay, so ethics come from the researcher itself.
Uh, I think they got their answer. Thank you so much for your valuable time, sir. From
Okay,
the whole
welcome.
research circle team, we would like to thank you on the behalf of all the participants also. This was a very useful and knowledgeable session. And I would like to tell all the participants also that this is live, or this is on the our YouTube channel, that is Research Circle YouTube channel. So I would like to request all the participants, please share this to the useful, or the people, those who want to start their research journey. This session will help them a lot. So once again, thank you so much, sir. With your
Okay,
due
welcome.
permission, we would like to conclude this. Okay, sir.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.